get that right. I'd like to welcome everyone to DC Viewpoint. I'm Dean Kicklighter.
And I'm Fred Brown.
This is our inaugural show, and we thank you for participating and writing in, and appreciate you watching.
If this is the type of show that offends you because it's not politically correct, or you don't like to discuss race in a profound and also in a blatantly honest fashion, this is probably not the show for you.
Absolutely not. This will be a no-holds-barred discussion where we bring out, or try to bring out, what's said behind closed doors when people are behind the closed doors with no other race present. So if you're easily offended and you don't like blunt, straightforward talk, this definitely is not the show for you.
Now, that being said, the premise of this show is not to be decisive at all. The premise of the show is to bring the races together by understanding what the other race is thinking, give us some education, and so we can learn from each other and to heal and bring this nation as one great nation as we know it is.
That's absolutely our goal. A little bit of background, Craig and myself, we actually attended high school together, and we are have always been very competitive, consider ourselves good friends, but we've always had a spirited, I guess, competitiveness, and I really do believe that it'll help when we try to accomplish what we're going to try to accomplish here. Improvement in race relations and a better understanding of possibly how people feel and why they feel the way they do about politics also.
Absolutely. In this show we discuss politics, as Dean has mentioned. We discuss current events. We will discuss what's going on in the news, what's going on in the political atmosphere. And also, you know, as we mentioned previously, we're going to discuss blatant, honest things in reference to race.
What we've done, because we're a news show and this is basically our pilot, so hopefully, you know, move on to a larger audience in the future. We've started out by simply asking questions over Facebook, asking people to send them in to us, and hopefully we will do our best to answer them and give you our viewpoint. Mine being the viewpoint from a 40-year-old white man who happens to be a Republican. And
obviously I'm a black man. I'm 39 years old and I'm a Democrat.
So we believe that type of healthy discussion, you know, hopefully will benefit people throughout. All right, moving right along. From Hillary, and this may be an interesting one. We will go through. We talked about how it seems acceptable for people to prejudice against white. I think it's a fact that needs some airtime. It's so acceptable that even my partner rolled his eyes when I first brought it up. I'm not saying that it happens on the scale that historically has happened, but happens in reverse. But currently the levels of prejudice seem closer to even. Either way, the fact of the matter is that if you are judging anyone by their skin color, you are just feeding the problem. Until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, and until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, there is war. We must become members of a new race, overcoming petty prejudice, owning our ultimate allegiance not to our nations but to our fellow men within the human community.
Hillary, I agree with everything you said except the fact that there's a premise of reverse racism. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because I think that that's really overstated, and I think that that's a cop-out. I think if you look historically at where we are as a nation, if you look at all of the things that people of color had to go through to get to an equal standpoint, there's also someone on the Facebook that I saw, I can't recall his name as of this moment, but he mentioned that there has been so many things that were done against, for instance, blacks, until, you know, it hasn't been rectified. Now, most people that I know personally have no ambitions to be on welfare. Most people that I know personally work hard every day. Most people that I know personally have no ambitions to go out and rob someone for something that they didn't earn. And I know I'm getting off a little off subject, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set the stage that, you know, when you're talking about the justice system and you're talking about, what's happening in regards to the unfair treatment of people of color in this country, it's kind of hard for me to have any sympathy or for me to have any type of true compassion or feel sorry for anyone who has the majority when it's obvious that, you know, you've had it. So if to be now considered to be reverse discrimination, when it's hard for me to really fathom that. If you recall, it was illegal for black people to read. So if you now are going to fault us or fault anyone of color when they want their equal share in this pie we call America, I think that's disingenuous.
Well, Hillary, I agree with you. I believe that there's, except for one thing, I don't call it reverse discrimination. I think there's plenty of discrimination to go around, and that comes from black people, that comes from white people, that comes from Mexicans, Asians. Unfortunately, in our country, throughout the world, people discriminate. People are racist. And I would venture to think that my good buddy here, Craig, never broke a law by reading a book. I don't think you grew up experiencing anything like that. However, on the other hand, I, as a white guy, I grew up where I probably might not be the choice for a job because I am white. And even discriminated against a little bit more than that, I happen to be on the bottom of the totem pole. I'm a white man. Every single group in the country is protected except for the white guy.
You are on the bottom of the totem pole.
On the bottom of the totem pole.
You are on the top of the totem pole because the white male owns the majority. They are the majority in the United States. So for you to say that you are discriminated against, you have it all. You are in the power positions. Let me tell you why I think that is far-fetched. If you in the past have went for a job and you felt that you were discriminated against, I can't see that. I can't fathom that because, you know, there's been plenty of times, me personally, when I know I went up for a job, I knew I was better qualified, I knew I had the skill set, I knew I could do the job effectively, and I wasn't given that job because someone white got it. And then sometimes I would train that person.
And I'll tell you, that's a shame. That's horrible. But what you're not living in a world now that mandates you can't get that job. If there's a certain amount of white people already in positions, and you and I go up to try to apply for this job and say we're equally qualified, the law is in place that's going to mandate the job goes to you. It's not there for me. There's laws to protect handicapped citizens. There's laws to protect women. There's laws to protect everyone except the white male, I believe basically ages between 30 and 39. Because once you hit 40, I believe you're protected by becoming the senior type status.
Well, let me ask you this question. All right. We have a company that you have 10 employees, right? And out of those 10 employees, you have 10 openings, listed 10 openings for positions. If you got 7 of those positions as white males, and because you had a person who was at the top of the totem pole, who let's say is a racist, and they said, you know what, I'm going to hire all people who look like me because I don't want them to be discriminated against because there's no law to protect the white man, right? Now you have 7 people that are hired as white people, right? Because they're white males and they are trying to be